Time now to let it rip with Detroit City Council member Coleman Young II and Republican State Senator Jim Runestad. Fox 2 anchored attorney Charlie Langton with us as always. You know, some people are saying this is more of a rhetorical question. Are these two guys running for office too old, too tired to do the job? And we begin with Mr. Runestad. What do you think? I mean, Donald Trump every day is emerging from a courtroom. He looks tired. He looks frustrated. And he looks like he's running out of patience. Is he ready for the job?
Oh, he's ready for the job. I'll tell you, if anyone at this table was being put through what he is, being in the courtroom, not being allowed to defend yourself, all of these charges by these states, this cockamamie charge against him now, and the guy sleeps consistently 3 hours. Everyone I know that knows him, he sleeps 3 hours a night, gets up and goes like a machine.
But is that
Biden
sustainable?
can't find himself out of his own basement.
Is that sustainable? 77 years old under such a stressful duress, as you speak of these court charges that he's always having to face. Can he survive this into an election year and then perform as president? You know,
and as people age, there's all different kinds of people. And I saw him at the CPAC convention in February, and he was on the teleprompter. He said, I got to go off the teleprompter, because this reminds me of a story. He went out about 20 minutes of the most hilarious one-liners, just all ad-libbing. And then when he got to the end of it, said, no, he immediately went back to where he was on the teleprompter. It was just like nobody could have done a better routine than he did. At that age, Biden, you turn that teleprompter on, he doesn't know his own name.
Well, I think in the State of the Union address, we followed his speech with what was written in the teleprompter, and we saw what he did, which was ad-lib, and he challenged Republicans in the gallery there, saying, you want to pass that bill? He was talking back to people. It seemed like he was pretty on, but there are moments, of course, and I don't think anyone can deny this, that both of these men are showing their age and showing the level of stress they're going through. Coleman, do you have trust in this, in Mr. Biden, or do you think he's a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, as investigators had cited him in that report?
Rube, you look like a newborn baby. You look beautiful, man.
So
Thank you for having me. It's been too long.
I feel like one.
It's been too long. Charlie, hardest working man show me. It's been too long. I thought you lost my number.
No, man. You're here for a reason.
To be here with you, man.
So Biden, is he too old for the job?
Well, listen, Biden's not old. He's a classic, okay? And I think he has the most experience, 11 million jobs created. You just talked about inflation from where it was to where it is now. $300 billion invested in manufacturing. 400,000 jobs of those manufacturing jobs created in Michigan. He's reducing student loan debt. I think that he has one of the best economic records of any president ever. I definitely think.
But does he always know where he is, what he's doing? And the reason I asked that question and what he's talking about, because we know that he was just in Detroit a few days ago, and he talked about having to help Mike Duggan because Barack Obama sent him during the pandemic when he was vice president, mixing and matching events, calling the Egyptian president, the Mexican president, saying, hey, you know what, red states and blue states, what about the green states out there? I mean, at some point, these are fundamentals that anybody should know if they want the job. Is he going to be okay as a Democrat, do you believe, moving forward?
Well, listen, let's not forget that that when he was president, former president Donald Trump said that planes flew during the American Revolution. So this is not somebody who's necessarily aware of where he's at.
But is Joe Biden aware?
It also talked about running against Barack Obama when he was actually running against Nikki Haley. So this is not a guy who's, you know, he talked about Frederick Douglass as though he was still alive. So this is not somebody who's already been there. Now, is there room for improvement? Of course there is. There always is. And
is there time for improvement, though, with an 81-year-old man?
But let me say this. I think that his mind and his body should be in a medical journal. I think the fact that him, an 81-year-old, has the record that he's had, done the accomplishment that he's had, do the achievements that he's had, I think that this is a man who has done a great job, and we need to keep him in there for 4 more years. Democracy is on the ballot this year, and we cannot go back to what we had with January 6th and Donald Trump.
All right, so we had Dave Dulio, the Oakland University professor of politics, who was on our show not long ago, and he said, I'm not sure that these two guys are going to be the guys still standing come November. Charlie, do you still believe that there's a question as to whether or not both these guys are going to make it?
He's dreaming.
The professor's wrong. These guys, they're the nominees.
But they're going to make it. They're going to make it health-wise.
Yes.
Oh, yes, these guys are pros. They're pros. They've been doing this forever. And yes, listen, Trump's 77 and Biden's not 81. They're roughly the same age. Of course, they can do this. Yes, would I want to be in court every single day? No, I don't want to do that. But yet, Biden, look at the schedule he's keeping. You interview them both. I mean, you see the changes, but I've seen you change too. I've seen me change a little bit. Sometimes that teleprompter, it's hard to read sometimes. Listen, we all make mistakes. The thing is the fundamental. Listen, can these guys do it? And the answer, in my opinion, is yes, they can. I don't think age is a factor. Now, you tell me there's some medical issues, real medical issues, that may be something different. But age for right now, and actually, I think, to some extent, if we were talking about a job and you started mentioning age, there's some legal issues there about some age discrimination.
Well, the voter is the employer. And if the voter decides to discriminate because of age, that voter can do that.
For a long time in this country, we did not put age as a preclusion to get a job. And I don't think we should do it for president. Now, if there's symptoms, if there's real symptoms, not just messing up a teleprompter, then yes.
But Jim said, if there's a minimum, we do have age issues.
When it comes symptoms. The court said we can't prosecute the guy because he's got no memory left. He's a dementia patient.
If there's a minimum age to become president, should there be an age at which we say, okay, it's time to sunset this?
No, this is up to the voters. But if you look at some of the gaffes that Trump makes, every one of us in front of cameras, we've all made gaffes. Every single person. You can't go through life without talking publicly and making a gaffe.
How many did you make today?
How many do we probably all make one today? But what we're talking about with Biden is somebody who is walking across the lawn and the security details running and trying to redirect him. He's got some mental issues that are way over what you should be trusting somebody that has his hand hovering over the button. This guy is just being controlled from behind. And there is so many examples. Your listeners have all seen these examples.
Okay, but listen, but if you really want to play that game, and unfortunately both sides have, we know that former President Trump said that President Biden would lead us into World War II. He called his wife Melania Mercedes. He didn't know how old his son was. These are personal, really fundamental things that people should know. Your wife's name, your son's age. I understand what you're saying about numbers, getting a number wrong here and there. But to say that you've met with people that you have met with, to call Nikki Haley Nancy Pelosi, don't you think that points to a real cognition issue?
What is that when they were, I didn't see that, were they arguing? And he doesn't particularly like Nikki Haley. Maybe he was doing that on purpose. And
well, he's done that a few times.
Between World War II and III, could you make that mistake? He could cause World War II instead of seeing III. I mean, that's something anybody of any age can do. To see someone like me walking off the grass and the security, no, over here, and then I don't know where the teleprompter is. I don't know where. I mean, this guy has issues that are terrifying as the president.
Bottom line is, if we get out of this, and I hate to say it, but we have, it seems in this country, an inability to separate the human being from the party and to be able to say that my candidate is flawed. It seems like no one who's a Biden supporter, you say anything negative about Biden and his camp, people say, how dare you do that? Are these men fundamentally flawed, and should there be better people who are running for office?
Well, listen, let me say this. I think that President Biden's record is distinguished. I also just wanted to comment real quickly. Remember, President Trump also said that the way in which we should deal with a hurricane is by nuking it. So I don't necessarily think that, again, he is the best person to be in office, one. But secondly, let me just say, listen, everyone knows, including the Biden team, that he's America's favorite grandpa. Everybody knows that. Everybody's embracing that. Listen, I think that what he has done, what he has achieved, what he's done for the American people and the leadership that he is providing, he has distinguished himself, and he deserves an opportunity to run.
Do Democrats deserve better?
I think that America has received so many great things from President Biden. I just think that's the wrong question. I think that the only reason why we're asking this question is because of his age. If he was younger with the type of record that he would have, I think he would be a shoo-in for president. And so I think that's something we need to talk about. Ageism is in whole, in general. Don't just look at the man's age, also look at what he's done. And don't compare Joe Biden to the almighty. Compare him to the alternative. and we can do better than the alternative.
I agree with Coleman. He would make a good grandpa for somebody. That's what he should be, somebody's grandpa. He'd be out there playing in the flowers with somebody. He should not be the president of the United States. It's terrifying with his record, throwing open the border where every terrorist are coming, millions and millions of people we know nothing about, flooding the nation with people illegally, simply to get them to increase the votes for congressional districts and for the electoral college. That's what he's doing. Totally illegal. It's unbelievable what he's doing to this country. Inflation is exploding. The debt is $2 trillion a year, borrowing every single year. You know, when in the pandemic we lost all the jobs, some of the jobs come back mostly part-time. We've had an increase in jobs. Of course we have. The pandemic's over.
What about the fact that we thought we would be we thought that we would be in a recession right now? We're not. 15 million jobs created. The Dow hit 40,000 last week, and people are saying, look at the economy, it's a mess. The prices need to come down. That's true.
Yes.
But do you think the economy is really a wreck under Biden?
The reason we're doing so well is we are deficit spending. We are at 130% of GDP. The highest before that was a little over 100%. After World War II, we're paying off the debts. There is no giant war we're paying off. We are deficit spending to pump the economy. They want to pump it, pump it, pump it. It's going to implode, and we're going to have inflation go blasting. And people are not aware of what's coming.
Charlie Langton says, go ahead.
I'll just get ready to say the reason why we have the deficit that we have is because Donald Trump put a $2 trillion tax cut and did not pay for it. I'm just surprised the Republicans now all of a sudden
and Nikki Haley said that. Nikki Haley said that on the debate stage, pointed her finger squarely at Donald Trump and pointed at the debt that Trump created, and now she's endorsing Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I'm not endorsing, but voting.
That's because that was back during the pandemic. There's no pandemic, and he's still spending $2 trillion a year.